Hey guys, Frost here with my Shoutcast basically of the new patch. I just wanted to give you some information, just summarize what's coming in this patch if you're not able to play or you really don't feel like reading the patch notes or whatever the case is. I'll be informing you right now. Some new, obviously new things coming in the patch. Garen's going to be released today. I just logged into the store. He's going to be 3150 IP and I think 975 RP. And he's going to come with 2 new skins for him, the Sanguine Garen and Desert Trooper Garen. There's also going to be 3 new skins for other champions. There's going to be Little Red Riding Hood Annie, the Big Bad Warwick, and Warrior Princess Sivir, which I'll be showing you guys later. The other things that are not coming in this patch that I thought might have been were there's a skin for Anivia, Gragas, and Rise that are going to be coming later, I guess. They're not in this patch, but in this patch there's going to be some changes basically to PvP.net, some bug fixes. The amount of IP and XP you gain from Twisted Dreamline is going to go down because it takes less time to finish that. As far as champion fixes, there's some major thing that all root effects, all immobilizes. Now you can attack while you're in them, but you can't use abilities that would otherwise make you physically have to move out of them. So you can't use like Leap Strike or Rocket Jump or Gragas's or Shen's dash abilities to move while rooted, because it doesn't make any sense. But you still can use teleports to get out of them. Well, not out of them, but move while in them. So you can use Arcane Shift, you can use Rift Walk. I guess you could probably Crow Storm out of it too, but for the most part you're not able to move while it immobilizes, but you can still attack. So it makes them far more effective against melee champions and much less against the ranged ones, if that makes any sense. As far as balancing is concerned, they reduced the amount of healing done by Triumphant Roar for Alistar. They nerfed Fiddlesticks a little bit. They reduced the silence and reduced the amount of bounces and increased the speed at which it bounces so that it doesn't silence you for like the entire team fight, because that's pretty irritating. And they also reduced the ability power ratio on Crow Storm, so that'll all do less damage, so he'll be less what the fuck owning you. They reduced the amount of health that Jax gains from attack damage. They reduced his armor per level, so he should be taking more damage and having less health, which makes him a little bit easier to kill. They increased, they buffed Katarina a lot. They increased her base health, they increased her health per level, they increased her damage per level, they increased the amount of damage that Bouncing Blades does. They reworked Killer Instinct, so now it does extra damage on each ability that you use. It's a flat amount of damage. You don't have to like auto attack for like 5 seconds to get the full effect. They also increased the scaling of Death Lotus and fixed her passive so that you should get the amount of gold that you're supposed to when things die. Mordekaiser got nerfed a little bit. His shield decays faster. It doesn't give you as much of a shield at the beginning. It's been reduced to 140 from 175 at level 1, but increased at max level to 650 at level 18. And his Siphon Destruction, the ranged attack, that doesn't give him as much shield as it used to. Basically, they just made it harder to charge it up, discharge faster, but larger maximum at a higher level. Morgana actually got a lot of buffs, a lot of changes to her stuff. Her Dark Binding cooldown has been reduced, the snare reduction, her duration has been reduced, the mana cost has been reduced, and the amount of damage it does has been reduced, but overall the spell itself has been buffed. It's going to be much more useful now. Her Tormented Soil, her round-based AoE, now does a little bit less damage at the beginning, but now applies a magic resist debuff that increases the amount of damage that it'll do at higher levels by a significant amount, and it should do actually a little bit more at lower levels if you stand in for the whole time. And the mana cost of that has also been reduced. The other thing that they changed is her ultimate, Soul Shackles. They changed the amount of ability power that you get, the amount of damage from the ability power that you get for the initial burst by half, but then increase the amount of damage it does when it explodes by 50% at the end. So it's about the same amount of damage if you hit them with both pieces, but it's not going to like instantly give you at the beginning. The other thing that they did was they increased her attack range by 50 and increased her attack speed and her attack damage, so it's not a gigantic pain to try to last hit. As it is right now, it's just like and then the thing's already dead by the time you fucking get there. It's terrible. Nunu also got some buffs. They increased his magic resist, his base magic resist, reduced the amount of mana and the cooldown of consume by a lot, and increased the healing by a marginal amount. And they also changed Ice Blast to slow less at the beginning and slow more at the higher levels, but it's not anything significant. The other thing that they changed was Blood Boil. Blood Boil now has a much shorter duration and about the same amount of cooldown, but the mana cost has been reduced, and if you cast Blood Boil on an ally, it also Blood Boils Nunu, which I really don't think is going to make that big of a difference because the cooldown and the duration are so short that you're just going to have to constantly cast it anyway. It's not going to be very much different than it was before. And they changed Absolute Zero, so that it's 150 mana all the time instead of 300 at max rank, which also is not a big deal because at higher levels you have enough mana to cast it anyway. The other thing they changed on him was his passive now requires 7 hits from 8 hits to get a free spell, which really also doesn't help him because his main problem here is that Flash lets you get out of his ultimate, any stun stops his ultimate, and the amount of damage it does is not directly proportional to the amount of time that you spend casting. If you spend 2.9 seconds casting, you don't do 90% of the damage, you do like half damage, which is still really not that much. Just some other fixes for Pantheon and Poppy. They can't use their charge or leap to get out of snares. Rammus's Powerballs, mana cost went down. Puncturing Taunt, mana cost went down. Mana regeneration was increased. Shen also got some buffs. His Vorpal Blade does less damage at low levels, but more damage at high levels. The ability power ratio has also been increased. And Feint has been reworked so that now it always costs 45 energy. It blocks all of the damage from any source as long as the shield is up. And it blocks a significant amount of less damage, 40 at level 1, 180 at level 5, and it doesn't block damage from turrets, which is a big thing. They also increased the cooldown of Shadow Dash. They increased the amount of energy that it costs even if you hit a champion by 10 for Shadow Dash, and they reduced the amount of the shield from Stand United and the duration of the shield from Stand United. So pretty much they nerfed most of his abilities except for Feint, which they buffed because it really didn't do anything before. And the last major change that they made was they reduced the amount of healing that Radiance does, Tarek's ultimate, by a significant amount, so that he is not stupid in team fights where he just heals his whole team and does a lot of damage. So that should fix, our team is Tarek, your team doesn't have Tarek, we win, kind of scenario. The other major things are there's 2 new items that build from that crit sword thing that I can't remember the name of, and the gold per 5 items are now going to build into something useful. And oh yeah, the other major thing is now champions will get assists for kills where they don't do damage. For example, if you time warp someone that either gets the kill or you time warp the person you're trying to kill, then you will get the assist even though you didn't do any damage. Your support champions will obviously get much more gold than they're used to. Alright, now I'm going to show you some of the art and whatnot from the other things.